Hello, welcome to day one of EGX Rezzed developer sessions. Thank you so much for coming here to join us. I'm Martin from Eurogamer, and up next is a session I'm supremely excited about, and so I'm going to stop waffling and get you straight into it. So please put your hands together for Paul Rustchynsky, who's going to show you a bit of Onrush.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us today to take a deeper look at Onrush. We'll be checking out some behind-the-scenes footage from early on in development that we've never shown before, as well as demoing some new modes and tracks exclusively for you from the latest build of the game. Before we dive in, let's start with some introductions. I'm Paul Rustchynsky, the game director of Onrush, and with me today is Jamie Brayshaw, over there, the assistant game director. We've worked on a lot of racing games such as WRC, Motorstorm, Drive Club over the past decade with our exceptionally talented team up in the northwest of England. And 2 years ago, we joined Codemasters, where we're forging a new era to become the world's #1 racing studio. Together, aiming to bring our passion for racing, high-speed thrills, and high-quality games into the lives of players across the world. Cool. So let's talk about how we made the game. To create something completely fresh and new, we've combined a lot of powerful ideas and influences into Onrush, an evolution of the arcade racer that makes non-stop fun for everyone the top priority. We're bringing back what we love and miss from classic arcade racing, the raw adrenaline and high-impact thrills of the best arcade classics, such as Burnout, Motorstorm, Outrun, SSX, and many more. That insatiable speed, over-the-top action, and hard-hitting fun that always leaves you grinning. And we've also added new elements inspired by games outside of racing. You know, we have the same kind of immediacy and fast action that we all love from fighting games. We spawn you right back into the action like a multiplayer shooter. And we have team-based competition that's easy to enjoy and challenging to master like Overwatch, Rocket League, and sports games. This video was the first we created to show our vision internally for a new breed of arcade racing, which communicates many of the game's key goals that we set ourselves. We wanted fast-flowing off-road action for that arcade adrenaline rush that you rarely see nowadays. We wanted friends to play together as part of a team for both cooperative and competitive play. We wanted over-the-top spectacular takedowns and epic show moments in every game you play. And most importantly, we wanted to keep you in the thick of the action at all times for the maximum amount of fun. To bring this idea to life, first, we need to build the foundations. And this is where we started 2 years ago. We put together a super crude network multiplayer racing game inside of Havoc, which allowed us to start building the foundation of the gameplay before we had our game engine up and running. A few months later, we had a rendering pipeline to display these beautiful lollipop trees, boxcar, basic physics in place so we can start to get a feel for the arcade handling, a functional chase camera so you can start to play from a representative perspective, and even a handful of core mechanics in place so we could start to earn boost and deploy boost, all of which allowed us to start blocking out the tracks in preparation for head-to-head multiplayer. By the next month, we had 6 versus 6 multiplayer with fodder and takedowns, and even a team score component that tallied team distance driven as the first trackable metric. And it was at this point that much of the focus shifted from building the foundations to finding the fun. Finding the fun involved daily playtest, where it was about rapid iteration and experimentation, and learning lessons to work out what we need to do next to improve the core gameplay and provide structure to the action. It was here we put a lot of focus on how takedowns should behave, how we would keep the pack of vehicles close together, and what the hooks for all of the game modes would be. In this video, you can actually see our first game mode, Overdrive, in a very early form. December 2016 was the first time where many of the core elements started to gel together. And it was at this point that we knew we had found the fun that we were searching for. Sure, it still looked a bit rough, and there were still many missing features, but the game had really come alive, and it was one of the most kind of fun times in the project where everyone looked forward to playing the game each day in multiplayer. It was also at this stage in development that where everybody, every day it felt like there was a new track to play, as we were rapidly prototyping track layouts to see how they influenced the flow and the action. In the end, I think we had 40 to 50 test tracks, which we took all the best bits from and put them into the 12 awesome tracks that are in the game today. There was, of course, still much prototyping to do on new modes and features, yet in early 2017, we started to iterate and refine some of the core mechanics and build in the depth. Takedowns were now more predictable and satisfying, and we started to add in new ways to take people out. Handling was now agile and engaging, allowing you to find your flow and attack the track. The boost and rush mechanics felt powerful, so we could work on the balance and tactics. And now that we had the solid foundations in place, the next step was to work on each of the vehicles to add in distinct strengths and weaknesses so that they could combine to offer strategical use for your team. So we split up the 4 vehicles, the bikes, buggies, cars, and trucks, and made them into 8 individual classes with their own unique abilities, traits, and more importantly, a distinct rush power. This made a huge difference to the moment-to-moment gameplay, where every vehicle now felt like a viable choice, and teams could start to work together more effectively to form strategies. By April 2017, we started adding assets, textures, objects, and much more, and it suddenly started to feel like a real game rather than just a rough prototype, one that we could confidently start to show to people outside the studio. And it was crazy to think that just 12 months prior to this, we had nothing, just a crude prototype. And it still amazes me to this day how much the team achieved within that short space of time. And I couldn't be proud of the guys back up in Runcorn. But now let's fast forward a year to today to see how Onrush is shaping up right now. I think we've come a long way in the past 12 months. And I think that cinematic clip perfectly demonstrates the moment-to-moment action in Onrush, as that's how the game plays out. We didn't choreograph or stage the gameplay in that sequence. That was simply a replay file from a match against the AI. Those insane, breathtaking, over-the-top moments just happen all the time in Onrush. And it works because it was designed from the ground up to celebrate speed, action, takedowns, and team play. Because Onrush is a new breed of racing game with a new set of rules powered by the Stampede System. The Stampede System gets you in the action immediately, making the powerful and high-impact team racing in Onrush easy to enjoy. This system launches you into the middle of the action at 100 miles an hour whenever you start the game, respawn after a crash, or if you fall too far behind. It means there's no waiting around, no getting up to speed, none of the slow and serious bits of racing. Just cut to the chase and enjoy non-stop, high-octane action over and over again. And it unlocks a new mentality and loads of new ways to play that reward you for chasing risks, racing with style, and clashing with the pack. Takedowns are at the heart of everything in Onrush, and they happen a lot because the Stampede system keeps launching both teams back into the fight over and over. And when you're on the receiving end of a takedown, it isn't game over. You'll be back into the fun within seconds, right on the trail of the player who just knocked you out, so you can shut them down and get revenge. There's also a bunch of fodder grunts in the mix as well, doubling the size of the Stampede, so there are 24 vehicles in the action all the time. So you always have the targets to chase to keep your combo up. The most spectacular moments and takedowns in Onrush are all fueled by boost. The faster you are, the bigger impact you can make, so you want to do everything you can to keep a lot of boost in your tank by chasing risks, getting bigger, pulling off tricks, getting close to your teammates, and taking the fight to the rival team. And because you can never have too much of a good thing, there's a powerful second level to your boost. Rush, a 10-second injection of explosive speed and unstoppable power that always packs the possibility of being your biggest and best moment inside the game. And there are 8 unique flavors of Rush, built into a lineup of 8 powerful classes, each with their own unique loadout of extra abilities that take the action to another level. They add variety, flexibility, and depth to the gameplay. First, we have the Blade, an all-out assault motorbike that allows you to burst into a rush state that lays down a deadly burning trail that will wipe out everyone who runs into it. The Outlaw lets you slam the ground to create a devastating shockwave and steals boost from the opposition whilst rushing. The Vortex gives you an advantage for timing your boost when landing jumps, and during rush, it leaves a wake of disruptive turbulent air behind. The Charger gives you the ability to attack other players in the air with a well-timed use of boost, and can literally plow the opposition out of the way whilst rushing. The Interceptor has a supercharged initial hit of boost, and by chaining together takedowns, you can extend your rush to be deadlier for longer. The Dynamo supplies the team with boost drops and allows you to power nearby teammates with unlimited boost whilst rushing. The Titan can shield nearby teammates, and whilst rushing, you'll leave a trail of obstacles behind to block your opponent's path. And finally, the Enforcer, which can block opponents from boosting and blind the opposition that stray behind you whilst rushing. Now, because Onrush is a new breed of racing, it needed a new set of rules, so we created 4 original team-based game modes, which are all powered by the Stampede. They all deliver hard-hitting fun and fast action for everybody, with layers of depth and tactical team play opportunities as you discover new and better ways to score with your team. Every mode has fast-flowing rounds, which create some incredible clutch moments and keep everyone fighting until the very last second. Countdown is a race against the clock, capturing that classic arcade thrill of the mad dash to the next checkpoint. You have to fight to squeeze through a series of gates to add time to the clock for your team to keep it from running out. And as the clock ticks down, the tension builds, and you see some incredible clutch moments. And this is where Rush comes into play, as a strategical time blast could cut off a gate and snatch the win for your team. Now, Jamie, who's been patiently waiting to demonstrate the game, is now going to show you the game live in action. Playing Countdown, the mode that's available to play on the EGX show floor right now. We'll demo each of the modes, so we won't have time to actually show a full match. Instead, we'll be giving you a short burst of gameplay of each to give you a taste. So, over to Jamie. Looks like Jamie's been playing around in photo mode a little bit here. Getting some good snaps.
I've got a nice lineup shot of my team getting ready to do battle. The calm before the storm, so let's jump straight into the gameplay.
Let's go. right, now we'll take a look at another mode in a second. So, switching back to the presentation. The second mode is Overdrive that we'll demonstrate. Overdrive celebrates a free-form style of play and classic arcade point scoring, where you're constantly seeking out your next hit of boost to keep your combo up, all whilst trying to stay alive and take down the opposition. The skill and strategy comes from working out how to keep your combo alive and when to use your rush for maximum score and impact. We're going to demo Overdrive on a track that hasn't been seen before. This is Lynx Bay. That will see you ripping up the golf course. So let's check it out. Just loading in now.
Boost and rush to score.
Never forget the look on their face.
Okay, our third mode is Lockdown, which is a 100 miles an hour version of King of the Hill. That's teams chasing down the moving zone before fighting to capture it to score points. This mechanic of chase and capture creates a unique kind of ebb and flow to the mode, with the pace slowing ever so slightly when in the zone to focus on the combat, which is probably the slowest that you'll see on Rush, but also the most chaotic at the same time. But then everything gets back up to full speed as everyone chases down the next zone after each capture. Now, this is the mode that we talked about before, but never actually demoed. So for the first time, let's see Lockdown in action. Finally, we have Switch mode. Switch is an eliminator mode, giving everyone 3 lives to fight for, and forcing you to change your vehicle whenever you wreck. It's a bit like gun game in Call of Duty, where everyone's starting on the same level as one of the motorbikes, and eventually progressing to the biggest vehicles, creating an evolving attack and defense dynamic with all the vehicles, with the final seconds becoming an intense cat and mouse chase as you try to close out the match. This is our final gameplay demo today, and it's another exclusive, not only showing off Switch mode for the first time, but also another new track, Crimson Bass. So for the final time today, Jamie, show us your skills. And all this action takes place in our off-road heaven, featuring 12 stunning hyper-real tracks that can be driven at day or night, in rain or shine, and even in thick fog or deep snow, and all of which can change dynamically as you play. Every track is entirely unique, with its own standout moments and distinct visual look, all supporting that unique brand of high-impact racing, keeping players together and providing layers of risks, rewards, and opportunities. Onrush also has a full single-player campaign known as Superstar that can be played solo, as you'd expect, as well as with friends in seamless 6-player co-op. The Superstar campaign challenges you to compete in over 90 matches, where you must complete numerous challenges and objectives in order to progress, to find out about the origins of Onrush and how it became a global phenomenon. On your journey, you'll have to master every vehicle class, track, and mode, whilst braving all seasons and weather conditions that we throw at you for a fun and rewarding campaign. When you play online, teamwork really comes into play, and rivalries are taken to another level. The Stampede System redefines the multiplayer experience, serving up gameplay that you can enjoy with your friends of all skill levels, and letting you join straight into events even if they've already started, which means no more waiting around in lobbies. There's a casual quick play mode for fast fun with friends, as well as structured ranked seasons for higher level of competition. And we designed Onrush to offer fresh experiences with free contents and updates to keep the game growing after launch. We'll be continually balancing the game rules and meta, directly involving you, our community, and shaping the game with your feedback as part of the live service. And that's it for today. I hope you enjoyed seeing behind the scenes of development, checking out some of the new modes and tracks for the first time. Plus, I genuinely hope that you've got a better understanding of why Onrush is a new breed of racer and why we're all so excited about it at Codemasters. If you haven't already had hands-on, please go down to the show floor and give it a go. If you don't get a chance to play it today or this weekend, then the Onrush beta will be taking place next month on both PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. So thanks for your time. Thanks for listening. And I believe we've got some questions now.
Thank you so much for that. That looked incredible. I'm super excited to be able to see that much of it as well, to be able to see all that detail, kind of how it was all brought together. We've got time for a few questions as well. There's a microphone just in the middle there, so if you've got any questions, just step up to it, and I shall get us started actually while you all kind of make your way there. So that's come together incredibly quickly, hasn't it? How long exactly have you been working on this?
Just less than 2 years now. So in that time, we've built this new version of the Ego engine. We've come up with a new concept and prototyped it all. And yeah, it sometimes still amazes me how much we've done within the time frame.
Yeah, it's quite staggering. I don't know how you find any time to sleep, which is incredible.
Hi there. Hi there. With 8 different classes, how do you go about balancing it? Is it just through playtesting, or do you know?
Playtesting is a massive part of it. We have our kind of multiplayer test set up at the studio, whereby our QA teams play the game every single day. We get their feedback, but we also, at the same time, we've got analytics and telemetry. And we get a huge amount of information, which produces lots of KPIs, kind of key performance indexes, which tell us whether vehicles are too powerful or too weak, whether they're performing well, where they need to be buffed or nerfed. And it's a constant balancing challenge. Every day, we're making tweaks to individual classes. Like right now, one of the vehicles, I won't tell you which one, is a little bit overpowered in the process of trying to tweak some of its abilities to get that right feeling. And obviously with the beta next month, that's going to be the perfect opportunity for us to get hundreds of thousands of people hopefully playing the game. We're using all that data and then balancing it with your feedback and that data.
Thank you.
Thanks. And next question, please.
I've really fallen in love with those environments. They look absolutely stunning. And so it looked like as you were going through them, one point we was going through a golf course and then it spilled out onto a city street. Is there multiple ways you can play each track?
Well, each track, we designed them to be full of routes and opportunities so that you can master them in different ways. Essentially, I'd say with every mode and every vehicle class, there's an optimal way to play each track. So despite the fact there's not different routes per se, everyone's always channeled together. We want to make sure that all 24 vehicles are in the action all the time. We want to make sure that there's opportunities to take risks and play to your strengths with your vehicles. For the bikes, for example, you don't want to get involved in combat too much. So we always make sure that there's routes which offer a lot more elevation, because the bikes in particular, going off jumps and crushing other vehicles, are very strong. So making sure we've got lots of narrow, winding routes for those guys to get the height, or trees and objects for them to wind in and out of to try and lure the bigger vehicles into trying to take them out. So yeah, our tracks are all kind of unique as well. What you'll tend to find is that some are more focused on high speed, some are more focused on tight combat, and some are more focused on kind of the big jumps and bigger. So a really good variety from what we have.
Cool, and can you go both clockwise and anti-clockwise around them?
Not at the moment. At the moment, every track is designed in such a way that you only go one way, but it's definitely one of the things that we might consider to do post-release.
Thank you.
You've got it on the show floor as well for the first time. I think the public have had the chance to play it. Have you had a chance to see them play it? What's it been like?
I've only been watching a little bit. It's one of those days where I would have loved to have just sat there watching everyone play and getting their feedback. I've watched a little bit, and everyone's coming away with smiles, which is great. And also a couple of times where you see groups of guys, 4, 5, or 6 people all sit in the same team, and you get them starting to cheer and holler when they win that round. I think that feels really satisfying for us.
Awesome. Next question, please.
In the presentation, you said that the game was inspired by a number of... in your presentation, you said that your game the Onrush was inspired by a couple of esports titles like Rocket League and Overwatch. Do you plan to optimize Onrush for esports play?
I think the game definitely has big potential for esports. It's all based around classes and team play. Multiplayer, I think, is definitely the place where it's the most competitive. But I want that something for the community to really take up. If we find that you guys are playing the game heavily and you want more competitive leagues and you want things inside the game to support esports, then definitely. I think there's an opportunity, but I think it's ultimately up to you guys to see whether you want it or not.
It's obviously on the show floor as well. Have you got a date for the open beta? Is it just next month?
I can't say that.
Okay, sorry.
Let's just say it's sometime in the middle of May.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Hey, the last question ties on nicely. I was just wondering what plans you have for any live service or post-launch content.
Yeah, I think a lot of that's going to be driven off the back of the beta. We really want to get the game into the hands of players and actually ask you guys, well, what do you want next? Do you want more tracks, more classes, more modes? What features are you interested in? What do you want so that we can continue to build the game and keep you guys, having fun on a month-to-month sort of basis? So we haven't actually fixed, our plans in place yet as to what we're going to be doing. But we've got some good ideas, but we really want to kind of speak to the community and find out, what they want.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. I think, have we got one more? Yeah, just coming up.
I have 2 questions. Is that okay?
Yeah, of course.
The first one is, I saw that you have it released on Xbox and PS4. Have you ever got any ideas for it coming onto the PC?
It is coming to PC. So we are developing the PC version right now. We don't have a release date just yet because we're not the biggest developer in the world. We've only got like 50 or 60 guys up in Runcorn. And we wanted to make sure we give the care and attention that the PC ports deserve, and adding in those extra options that you expect of PC, and also making use of the extra hardware capabilities. So as soon as we're getting closer to narrowing down that release date, we will announce when it's coming out. But it is definitely coming to Steam.
Okay. And my other question was that you said that it only goes around the track in a circle. Have you ever thought about doing events which could cause it to go down a different route or completely change how the course runs?
We have. We've actually played around with those sort of ideas in prototyping. We originally had it where weather conditions would actually cut off parts of the track. So you'd actually be forced down a completely different route because, say, a lake had iced over, so you could drive over the lake instead. It's not something in the game right now, but maybe, you never know. That could be something we bring back.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you very much. If you haven't had a chance to play Onrush, it is on the show floor. Go play it now. It's brilliant. And then come back here in half an hour for Mavericks, which is the next session. But yeah, thank you so much for joining us. And of course, thank you, Paul, for showing us so much of the game. So please, big round of applause for Paul.
Thank you.
Dum dum